Hey everybody, how are you doing? It's your girl Nell, and I am in the tiny studio today. It is wash day. I have just completed washing my hair. In another video, I think I've already showed you guys that I wash my hair 3 times and I also condition it, but I don't condition it the way that I would if I did not have locks. I don't use any shampoos or any conditioners. Everything that I make or that I use, I make it. It's all um, herbal oils and essences that I use to condition my hair. As I think if you go into the Dreadlock Love playlist, you know what time it is. You will see videos of me washing my hair. Well, not exactly washing my hair. My thoughts on wash day, what my process is, and everything that I do to to get things together, and before and after I wash and condition my hair. As I said, I don't use regular shampoos or conditioners. I use Dr. Bronner's peppermint oil soap to wash my hair, and I wash it 3 different times. I also condition my hair. I use a hot oil treatment that I create for my hair myself, and I use that with some essential oils along with coconut oil and hemp oil. And so now I have finished both of those processes, and now I'm getting ready to take my hair down and I'm going to check and see what the condition of my hair is. Even though it's wet, I still want to know exactly what's going on, what the growth has been like these past, I believe it's been 4 months. I'm going back home to Detroit in the next week or so, and so I wanted to have a fresh I wanted to wash my hair for that trip. So it hasn't been 6 months since my last wash. It's been about 4 months since my last wash. And I usually wash between 3 and 6 months, but I've been going for every 6 months or so, twice a year, because I keep my hair in one of my Rasta Tams most of the time. So let's take the hair down and see what it do. Okay. Ooh, it's heavy. Now, as I said before, I have been having some issues with my back, so I didn't hop in the shower to wash my hair. And my hair is so thick. It's long, but it's also thick. And the thing is that I did not want to wash my hair in the shower because my hair is so thick and it's heavy. So washing it in the shower would be like, you know, I don't want to pass out or anything or be faint in the shower from washing my hair. So I did it in the guest bathroom. Okay, so yes, I've been losing weight. I have hanging skin everywhere. So when you see my arm go up and you see the hanging skin, that's from weight loss. Yeah, all of that. It's terrible. My husband says I need to go to the gym and do some weightlifting. So I have some, what are they called? I have some, they're not called dumbbells or anything, but I have some weightlifting apparatuses here in the tiny studio, and I use those every other day to try to build the elasticity back up in my arms. But do not be alarmed. I'm working on it. Hopefully when I'm done with this weight loss journey, I can have a conversation with my primary physician and with another doctor so we can figure out how I'm going to deal with all of this skin that's happening. All right, loose skin. All right, so here are my locks. Oh, they're super heavy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring And to be honest with you, I really did not have to wash my locks 3 times because it's just a habit, because they were not um I don't want to say that dirty, because my hair is not dirty, but I did not have a lot of um okay, my hair wasn't bad, so I could have really gotten away with 2 instead of 3 washings, but I did 3 anyway as a habit. And it's so much hair, so much hair. So now I'm getting ready to do what I'm getting ready to do, which is I'm going to try to get as much of the water from my locks as I can. And the one thing about locks, having dreadlocks, is that when you wash it or when it gets wet, the locks become very absorbent, and that's what makes it so, makes the locks so heavy and weighty in the shower. And that's the reason why I didn't go in the shower to wash my hair and condition it, was because my locks are so absorbent of weight of water that it becomes very heavy and weighty. So now I'm just going through and I'm just squeezing. I'm squeezing the water out of my hair, especially on the ends or the tips. Just squeezing the water out. And it's not a lot. It's just a lot of water, because I basically, I basically wrung my locks in the sink. And so you see I'm twisting it. To get all of the water, or as much of it, out of my locks. It's probably going to take my locks maybe about 3 days for it to completely dry, and probably less, because this evening I'm going to the park with the hubby, and so I would say maybe a day or 2, because it's so hot outside. It's like, creeping up to 100 here in the Tampa Bay area. So probably not going to take long for it to dry. Okay, so that's one side. And here is the other side. Let me wrap it in this towel here. And what is your wash day routine for your locks? I try to turn it into an adventure. I do. I try to turn it into an adventure, but basically something fun to do. But basically, it's a ritual. And as you see, I'm really concerned about making sure that the body of my locks down to the tips, that I get as much moisture out of my locks as I possibly can. So I'm going to twist it some more. The top part, I'm not really concerned about, because, that's easy to get it's easy to, have a towel absorb. It's easy for me in the sink to be able to wring the top part, the top of my locks, to be able to wring the water out of it. But it's becomes more of a challenge when you're trying to make sure that the body, along with the tips of your locks, are that you remove most of the moisture from it. So I feel like I've done a pretty good job, because this is really I want to say this probably is my 4th time, um, with the towel, trying to get as much moisture out of my locks as I can. Okay, so whew, This is a lot. It's a lot of hair. It's a lot of hair. I feel so bad for my mom, because she had this challenge of working on my hair and my sister's hair when we were younger. And and today is Saturday. I'm guessing that this video is probably going to upload over the weekend. Um, Today is Saturday, June the 1st, and you'll probably see this video on Sunday, June the 2nd. But my mom used to wash my sister and she used to wash our hair on a Friday night, and then she would take it down Saturday, and she would blow dry it if it needed to be blow dried, if it wasn't already dry. And then she would begin to press it out and all those other great things. So right now I have my water bottle, and in my water bottle I have distilled water, I have vitamin E, I think it's some coconut oil in here, and then I have some rose water or some rose essential oil inside of here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray my locks. I just love the way I just love the rose petal smell of my locks. When I do this, it smells so good. And so you may say to yourself, well, Nell, did you not just wring your hair dry, or did you just attempt to get the moisture out of your locks by using a towel? Yes, I did. But I'm on to something else, because I'm getting ready to add some I'm getting ready to add some potions to my locks. And I make a potion for myself and for my daughter and for my son. And this is what it looks like. And this is a potion that I put in my hair that I use every day. And we like to call it Beautiful You. And this is how it looks on the inside. And what it is, I can't give you all the juiciness of what this is exactly. But it does not, I'm going to tell you what it doesn't have in it. It doesn't have it doesn't have what you would find in a lot of chemicals that's on your shelf now for locks. And it solidifies and then it melts once you put it between the palm of your hands. It melts. And I'm going to tell you what it has in it. Just a general overview. It has vitamin E. It has coconut oil, yes. And it has other really great essential oils that's necessary for growth, for lock growth and care. And that's all I have to say about that. But I really love it, because I not only use this, my own potion, I not only use this in my hair, but I also use it on my skin. Actually, I use it all over my body. Let me just put it to you like that. I use it all over my body. And when I first came across this particular formula, I had created a variation of it for my eczema, because I really got tired of using a prescription strength ointments on my skin for my eczema. And what I didn't like about it was I felt it wasn't helping my skin. I've had eczema since I've came into this world at birth. and it was just really, really bad. And my mother tried all kinds of things. And then when I became an adult, I tried all kinds of things, and it was just terrible. And then when I started reading, when I met Queen Afua back in the mid 90s, and I bought her book, Heal Thyself, there are certain things that she set forth in the book. It was a really good educational book. If you have not, if you do not know who Queen Afua is, I'll Google her. But she has a really great book called Heal Thyself, and then she has another book called Sacred Women, Sacred Woman. And those two books help educate me on how to do research and find remedies for myself that would help to alleviate some of the things that I was going through health-wise. So I was born with congenital heart disease, or a hole in my heart. I was born with eczema, having allergies, asthma, all of those things. And so when I implemented most of the things that she told me to implement within her book, I realized that I stopped having some of the issues that I was having in my life. And what I'm about to do very, very soon is I'm getting ready or taking steps to become vegan again, because when I was really adhering to Queen Afua's, when I really had began to change my lifestyle, I was able to go straight vegan, which meant that I was only eating raw foods. I had lost a tremendous amount of weight, and I had healed my reproductive system. And that is how I began to have my additional children, which first and foremost was my son Kyle, who is now 27, and then Caleb, and Caleb is 25. So when I was really doing what I was supposed to be doing as a comedic woman, my body, my reproductive system was clear. My colon was clear. I wasn't eating meat. Or anything that was dead. I was putting any dead things into my body, only living things. And so that made a huge difference in the way I saw life. And it made a huge difference in my health. And when I began to put certain formulas and certain things together, experimenting with them and trying them out and seeing what health benefits I could gain from them, when I really began to do that as a crone. And you may be like, why does she keep calling herself a crone? Because I dibble and dabble in a lot of different things. A lot of different things, a lot of different witchy poo things. Okay, I'll just put it to you like that. And so I came across a formula that cleared my eczema. I used to have eczema so bad, especially in the summertime. I would get, my hands would be scarred and weeping from rashes. My hands, my fingers, the back of my legs, behind my knees, my feet, my toes, my arms. I would have rashes everywhere. But then when I stumbled across this formula and I started healing, putting it on my skin and healing myself, my eczema went away. All of it. Even the scarring that happened from my eczema began to go away. And I haven't had to deal with the issue of having breakouts on my skin in maybe about 20 years. About 20. I think the tiny studio assistant, she turned 20. About 20 years when I really became serious about making sure my skin was healthy, or is healthy. And it's because I stumbled across a formula, a variation of what I have right here, that really began to clear up my skin. So eczema and allergies, if you didn't already know, are connected to one another. So if you have a skin allergy, if you have a skin issue, you also have allergies, from what I understand, or what I've learned from my research, my own research. So there were certain foods that I had to eliminate from my diet. So I had to eliminate milk, creams and things like that. And if I ingest milk or cream or something of that nature, it's very, very small amount of that in my body, because milk helps to create the mucus in your lungs that agitate asthma. And I don't want to get too into it as, this is about wash day, but when you think about human beings drinking animal milk, that milk was really only for the animals, for the babies of these mammals. They weren't for us per se. But for some reason, we have the notion that the milk from a cow or a goat or a sheep is good for us to ingest when it's really not. And especially if you have allergies, you have some type of food sensitivity, those things are not good for you. You should be looking at nut milks or plant-based milks, rice milk, things like that is really healthy for you. And especially if you're a person who has allergies or some type of skin sensitivity, you want to stay away from a lot of those milks, goat milk, sheep milk, cow milk. You want to stay away from those things. So anyhow, let me give you a quick glance as to what's going on. I'm a semi-freeformer. I say semi-freeformer because I do go through my hair and I do separate them. Most freeformers do not separate their locks. They just let it do what it does, which is, I'm cool with that too. But my type of hair doesn't, my hair type does not allow me to just allow it to grow together. I have to separate. And that's a personal choice. That's something that you, as a person who's thinking and considering freeforming, that's something that you will have to decide on based on how your hair grows as it begins to dread or as it begins to lock. You'll know what is best for you. Should you just let it freeform together, or you want to separate? And I like to do, create different styles with my locks. So for me, separating every 3 months is really optimum for, my lifestyle, what I have planned for myself. So anyhow, let me give you a quick look as to what my locks look like now. They're very, very wet. And well, not wet, they're wet. Damp, I should say. And let me give you a quick look as to what is going on and how my freeform locks look after wash. Are you ready? Here we go. Okay, so this is the front. Let you look on the sides. Try not to pull anything apart right now. Just give you a good look. Try to let you see what's going on. I know someone had wrote in the comments they wanted to see the back of my head, so here is the most that I can show you at this time. What it looks like. Okay, that's one side. Let you see the other side. As I told you, it's been about 4 months since my last wash, so I really don't think that there is too much separation that needs to happen or that needs to be done. Usually around the 6th month, it'll be definitely time for me to separate my locks, but this is not bad at all. Ooh, it's so heavy. So what is my plan right now? What am I getting ready to do? Well, I need to take some of my formula. And I keep it in the refrigerator so everything solidifies. I'm rubbing it in my hand and it melts for me. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put it right in the back of my head, my kitchen area. And I'm going to get all in there. Make sure that those oils and vitamins penetrate in there really good. And next I'm going to get the edges. Get all in there. Get around my ear. Get those oils up in there. Get right down into my scalp. And I'm going to do the same on the other side. Because what's getting ready to happen next is I'm going to separate my locks and then I'm going to braid them. And just really get all into my scalp. And I can really feel it because of the different essential oils that I have in my formula. When it gets to my scalp, there is a tingling sensation that happens and a cooling sensation that happens. So that's how I know that it's getting to where it needs to go. Okay. And then I'm getting into the parts that you can see of my scalp. That feels really good. So here are my locks. They're looking very good, very healthy, as you can see. Very healthy. As you can see, it's very, very healthy. And I am quite pleased. And I have been going back and forth with, am I going to color my locks? Or am I just going to leave them as is? Just leave them white and just be done with it and just, accept the fact that I am who I am and I'm going to become who I'm supposed to become. And I've gotten used to the whiteness of my locks. I've gotten used to it. And the reason why my hair is healthy is because I've just made a commitment not to add any colors to it. But I have been going back and forth lately as to coloring. And I was thinking about using some henna or something of that nature. But what I will do, and like I said, I want to experiment. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try some henna out on my locks, and just one. I'm going to test it and see how it looks, see how I like it, and then I'll make the decision of whether or not I want to, color my hair with some henna, and it'll probably be a brown or something of that nature. But I don't know yet. And as I said before, coloring and using chemicals and things on locks, even though that's a personal decision, a personal preference that one would want to really consider carefully, for me, I've had mixed results from using colors and things on my locks. And as you can tell with my locks now, I have used coloring, or I have dyed my locks before, and I've dyed them black. And that's why my hair or my locks are different colors, is because at certain points I colored my locks, or dyed my locks black. And so that's why you see, when you look at my locks, you see different colors, because those colors are basically comes from the dyes that I was using to continuously color my locks, to color them black. And Over time, you can see that some of the color leaves, with each washing it leaves. But and then the sun fades it. So that's why my locks are different colors. It's because I have, you know, dyed them before. But what I've learned from coloring my hair is that I like the way my hair feels when it doesn't have any type of chemicals in it. I love the softness of my hair. My hair is naturally soft. And so when I add chemicals to it, things that are not natural, when I do that, my hair takes on a certain hardness and it gets dry, and I don't like that. That doesn't make me happy. And I do not like the way my hair feels when it's dry, or when it's going through some type of, because when it's dry it becomes brittle, and then I know that the next step is going to be, it's going to start breaking. So I just put some of my special potion onto the body of my locks, and then I make sure I get down to the tips. It smells so good. It smells really, really good. And I've taught my daughter, the tiny studio assistant, how to do the same. And right now, she had a wash day this week. I think she washed her hair on Monday. I think she did. It was either Monday, last Monday, or Sunday, somewhere in there. And she washed her hair, and she put them in twists. And she has the same. I've taught her how to do the same thing to her locks. My daughter, the tiny studio assistant, her locks are so beautiful. They are so beautiful. But her locks grow. Her hair grows away from the lock. So I want to see. She's a free former as well, but I'm thinking what I want her to begin to do is, she has enough new growth. Her hair grows away from the locks, so she has enough to incorporate some into a lock, and then she can start new locks from the rest of the hair that is growing away. So I'm going to talk to her about that later on and see what she thinks. I've been learning how to use a crochet hook to incorporate the hair, her hair, her new growth into the lock. And I've been learning how to do that, so I'm going to experiment on her hair this week and see if that is a great thing for me to do for her. When I finish using my potion, which I create, I put them in little mason jars and I store them in the refrigerator. Sometimes I had one around here. I have one that I use just for my skin, and that, my legs or something like that, because this is Florida, so I wear sandals all the time. So I do have one that I have set aside that I keep out, and I put that, either on my face like this, and then I put it on my elbows, on my arms, keep myself looking brownie, looking like brown, fresh out the oven brownie goodness. And that's why it's really important that you use all natural things, because you just saw what I did, right? I put this potion in my hair, and then I was able to put it on my face, and I have it on my hands, and it's really good because it is going, my skin, which your skin is a living organ, my skin is going to absorb all of this, and it's really healthy for the skin. It's really healthy for the many layers of skin. And that's one of the things I learned when I was trying to come up with different formulas for my eczema. I started learning about the many layers of skin that we have, and how it sheds, and how the skin that we have how underneath it there's more skin growing, and being created, so that when we shed this, we have beautiful, healthy skin. And, for me, being a person who dealt with eczema for so many years, healthy skin that's nourished and smooth and soft and unscarred, unlined, is just, for me, that's the epitome, you know, of good skincare and health, and I've been using this formula on myself, as I said, for about 20 years now, and I really enjoy it, especially on my face, because I don't have any wrinkles just as of yet. I don't have any crow's feet as of yet, which is why I don't have any laugh lines as of yet. And it's also genetics too, but I really feel that having a really great hair and skin regimen is good, especially as you begin to get older. And that's something that I've taught my daughters, um, from the time that they begin to hit adolescence. I've taught them the different secrets to having great skin, you know, great skin, having a really good skincare regimen. Those things are really important, because as you age, you know, hair, skin, your nails, all of those things become very important. And if you don't take care of it when you're young and learn how to develop a routine to take care of it, as you age, things begin to break down, and then you begin to look your age. You begin to really look your age, because you didn't take care of yourself. You didn't develop a system where you have a regimen that you do step by step every day or every night to be able to take care of yourself. And that's why a lot of people, when you see them, you're like, oh, they look like they're a certain age, or they look older than they're supposed to look, because they didn't take care of the essential things that they were supposed to take care of. Okay, so now I am getting ready to, this is my rose essence oil that I put in the bottle of distilled water and vitamin D. I think I showed that to you guys before. I need to order some more. This is pure vitamin E oil, which is really good for your hair, and it's also good for your skin. So I am getting ready to start braiding or plaiting my locks. And so the next time you see me, I may have plaits. I don't know if I'm going to do another video before. I might do a couple lives while I am in the deep, and you'll be able to see that. I think I may make one more video before I head off to the D. And you may see my hair in plaits then, but other than that, that's what I'm getting ready to do. I'm going to plait up my hair, and as you can see, let me let you see. Okay, so when I separate my hair, I try to be as gentle as I can. Yep, you hear that? And I only separate my locks when they're wet. I only do it when they're wet. I don't do it when they're dry, because that's where the breakage comes in at. Ooh, now that one's a toughie. So that means I'm going to have to get in here. I'm probably going to watch some Dallas while I am plaiting my hair. And yes, I mean the Dallas. Oh, it brings back a lot of memories. My mom used to wash our hair on, I think Dallas came on Friday nights. I want to say Fridays at 9 or 10 o'clock. And she would wash our hair, and we'll be sitting there on a stool or on a kitchen chair in the kitchen. And she would wash and condition and then plait up our hair while she's watching Dallas. So I have some really good memories of that. And I'm probably going to turn on some Dallas here in the tiny studio, and I'm going to plait my hair, and I'm going to watch Dallas, and I'm going to see what's up with Sue Ellen Po thing. I was watching an episode of Dallas where Sue Ellen wanted to, she was upset that she, that she and JR had not had a baby. They had been married for 7 years, and they hadn't produced an heir for the Ewing family as of yet. 7 years they had been married. And Sue Ellen said she had got tested and the doctor told her there was nothing wrong with her reproductive system. And so JR said, well, don't expect me to be going to check anything out. But what she kept saying is the reason why we don't have any children is because you're not interested in me in that way. So if you're not, since he wasn't, he's out here philandering with other women's and not paying attention to what's going on in the marital bed, well, then that is why, there were no babies. However, Sue Ellen decided that she wanted to adopt a child, and so she finds someone on the black adoption market, and or the black market for adopting babies, and she meets this young woman, and I think her name was Rita. And so Rita's like, well, what you need me for? You trying to buy me, trying to buy my baby, and we don't need to be friends or anything. But, Sue Ellen is like, oh, I want to help you out. I want to help you. I want to help you, Rita, because you're doing such a great thing for me. And so Rita said, I know what your story is. You're rich, you're wealthy, you have all this money, you have all this time to do absolutely nothing. And so you're going to spend time trying to monitor me and monitor my life. And, you probably come from a home where you have a really bad marriage, and your husband is out here doing whatever he wants to do. And, now you look at me as like a toy or a hobby. And this is my real life. What you need to do is just leave your husband. Now, Rita does not know Sue Ellen's story at all. Don't know a damn thing about her. But she told Sue Ellen, look, what you need to do is you need to leave him. Leave your husband and get yourself a life. And you'll feel much better. Now, that conversation happened, I believe, somewhere in season 2 or the beginning of season 3. I think it's season 2. Yeah, I think it's season 2 when that young lady tells Sue Ellen that. And unfortunately, Sue Ellen does not listen. And she goes for an additional, I want to say she goes a whole 8 or 9 seasons before it clicks in her head, that what she needs to do is she needs to leave JR, and leaving JR will lead to happiness for her. And it was so ironic to me that sitting there, and this show is 40, I want to say Dallas is a 44-year-old show, 43-year-old show, I think, somewhere in there. And the young lady gives Sue Ellen the best advice ever in season 2, letting her know what she should be doing. But Sue Ellen doesn't pay attention. She doesn't listen to any of that. She becomes a raging, alcoholic, becomes involved in all kinds of affairs and whatnot. And she has to go through so much before it clicks in her what Rita has said to her back in season 2. Way back in season 2. The advice is to leave him and have a happier life. How many of us, have received advice from a stranger? A stranger has read us down, read our lives down based on maybe one or two interactions, and reads us down and gives us the advice of our lives. And we know the person is right, but it takes us years before we are really fully able to process what was said and actually act on it. It's happened to me. I've met people who are clairvoyant, who have read me down and told me, this is what you need to be doing and what you should be doing. And WXYZ is not going to happen to you until you do A, B, C, and D. I have things floating around in the universe right now from advice that people have told me that I have still yet to implement, but I'm getting there. And I guess it's really all about having confidence in yourself and knowing that you can succeed. You can make it. You just have to believe in yourself. You just have to believe that you can and that you are worthy of the blessings that the universe has in store. You just have to believe in yourself and trust in yourself. And then you have to trust in the universe. You have to trust in the ancestors that they know what's best for you and that they're not going to let you down. And I'm not just saying that for you. I'm saying that for me as well. Because I don't believe in dishing out or giving out, unwarranted advice. And, I'm not doing the same thing. So I just want you to know that I'm going through the same things that you're going through. I have the same feelings that you have as well. I know that there are certain things that I should be doing that I'm not doing, but in the back of my mind, I know I should be doing. But guess what? I'm getting there. And everything happens when it's supposed to happen. I really do believe that everything happens the way it's supposed to happen. And a lot of times when it comes to, people giving advice or, when we find ourselves on the receiving end of advice, sometimes the person that's giving the advice plants the seed. And the seed has to germinate and it has to be nurtured and it has to grow within us. And then, boom, things begin to fall into place when we're ready to act on it. And then, the magic happens. So thank you so much for watching, for hanging out with me here in a tiny studio today on Wash Day, June 1, 2024. And if you have any questions or comments about what's going on, about my maintenance care as far as dreads are concerned, please do not forget to hop down in the comment section and pose that question to me or to anyone else in the tiny studio. I'm sure there are a lot of tiny studio guests who have dreads too that, have a wealth of advice that they can share with you. So listen, if you have not already subscribed to the channel, please do so now. And no, I'm not going to do my usual thing and pause and let you go ahead and do that, because you got this. You got this. Go ahead and subscribe. And I'm getting ready to start up a membership. Well, I think I already have a membership, but I was going to do a video about the benefits of membership. But if you had to subscribe or become a member of Simply Nell's Tiny Studio, what are some things that you would like for me to talk about with just you, or just specifically in the member group? And that will help me be able to tailor some things here in the tiny studio just for members, just some members only type of situation, not the jacket. All right, I'm out of here, and thank you so much for hanging out with me. I will see you next time in the Tiny Studio. Bye-bye.